I'm talking about the studio, Seth Rogen's show.
Yeah. Well, a lot of, as I say, been an interesting response. Hi. It's been interesting to see different
Hey there.
people. What they like. Gray likes some of it, but not all of it.
Yeah.
We're talking just about there's that new show, The Studio, which we'll get into. How many episodes do you guys watch? So
3.
3. Okay.
And the first one did not thrill me.
Well, pause on that.
Yeah,
Pause
so
on
we'll
the thoughts
hold that thought.
as our friends join us here. Hello.
Hello. I was discussing informally with my class the other night whether they went to the movies.
Yeah.
Do they still go to the movies?
Yeah.
Well, some of them went to see Minecraft.
Right.
But not an overwhelming number, but some of them did.
Yeah.
And one of them was going to see it, but called the Regal Theater downtown, which is a big multiplex downtown. It would be, if you were at USC, as my students are, their neighborhood movie multiplex. And it was going to cost $30. But then someone explained, no, that was for the IMAX shows.
Yeah.
Well, those are the only seats they had.
Yeah. But that's the thing, even that, it's so much. And I think that it's hard. What you were saying is that theater owners still say it's the cheapest form of entertainment.
Yeah, that's their answer. For years, what used to be called NATO, National Association of Theater Owners, and is now called, wait for it, CU, Cinema United.
Yeah, that.
United they stand, united they fall.
Something in that realm.
Yeah.
But they still say it's a cheap. I don't know if it is. I don't know. I don't know if
they
it
say
is
it's cheaper than going to a ball game.
Yeah.
Cheaper than going to a concert. Well, that's true.
Yeah.
So as mass entertainment goes.
But I think at the same time, what are you getting for that money?
Yeah.
If you're going to a gig, you're there, it's live. That's, an experience. You're going to a ball game, you're sitting with 60,000 people. It's a whole thing. I think the idea is that the movies, which is where you go either by yourself or with some friends, shouldn't have to cost anything in that same realm. It's weird. Thank you. Frank says, see you later. That's about the size of it, right?
They just had their big convention called CinemaCon in Las Vegas.
We just had Harry Medved on our show, on our podcast. And Harry is a really interesting guy. And he's been doing this a very, very long time. And it's a trip to sort of hear from his experience what all has happened and changed and what's going on and why they changed their name and all the different sort of details like that. And it is interesting because, everybody has a part in all of this. It's just what part that may be. I think probably still one of the number one questions you get asked all the time is, do you think that movie theaters are going to survive? Like that has to be one of the main questions you get asked by people. And we always say, they will, because we do like going to the movies and there's always going to be something special about that. And it's just something that streaming cannot emulate. It just can't. So, I don't know. Oh, Jimmy's asking an interesting question. First of all, he's from Australia. Hi, Jimmy in Australia.
Hello.
A few days ago, I saw Walt Disney's Fantasia in a theater. Truly an amazing experience. Can't understand why critics didn't like it back in the day. Well, this is
it got a mixed response, actually. Some newspapers sent their film critics to see it. Some sent their music. In those days, they covered classical music.
Yeah.
Sent their music critics to see it. And they had a lot of ill will toward the film.
Yeah.
That kind of like Disney was messing with Stravinsky and Beethoven and such. But it was not all negative. Far from it. And of course, they had hoped to do this as a roadshow attraction, meaning 2 shows a day, matinee and evening. That was what they used to call roadshow or hard ticket. There's all sorts of jargon terms that no longer get used. But that's how they wanted to present it. And Infantasound, which was surround sound before they called it that, it was very forward thinking.
Hmm.
And one of the sales people who did one of the advanced men for that process was named Irving Ludwig, who later, a decade later, when Walt and Roy decided they didn't want to be distributed through RKO Radio Pictures anymore, but wanted to be their own distributor, Irving is the man they chose to run the brand new company called Buena Vista, after the street in Burbank where they built their new studio.
Where it still is.
Yeah, where
It
it
remains.
remains. And where I, as a kid, I didn't get it. It means nice view.
Buena, good vista, view, good view.
Anyway, which rolls off the tongue more easily than Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures.
It's a lot.
That's the name.
But that's sort of how I feel about Disneyland hotels and resorts.
Yeah.
Don't like that at all.
Anyway, Fantasia has had a very checkered history.
Yeah.
It didn't make money on its initial release. I don't think it made money on its 1946 reissue either. Eventually it made back the investment. But originally it was just going to be a short. It was just going to be The Sorcerer's Apprentice. That's what Walt set out to do with Leopold Stokowski, the very prominent, very well-known and recognizable conductor. If you've ever, no, you haven't seen, but if you've ever seen or heard of the movie 100 Men and a Girl, starring Deanna Durbin.
You don't know. Don't underestimate
Deanna
them.
Okay. No,
Don't underestimate.
No, we have very smart
you
people.
You never know.
We have real film buffs who check in with us. So you guys know who Deanna Durbin was, and that she essentially saved Universal Pictures from bankruptcy. And one of her big hit movies was called 100 Men and a Girl, a title you would not choose today.
Still don't know why you'd choose it then, but hey, not my call, apparently.
But anyway, and there in that film is Leopold Stokowski playing himself, of course. And so when he turned up, not only on the soundtrack of Fantasia, but in the prologue and following The Sorcerer's Apprentice, where he shakes hands with Mickey Mouse.
Larry says he used to have the 16 millimeter print of 100 Men and a Girl. Sounds about right, Larry.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was a celebrated figure, like a pop culture figure almost, beyond the classical music world. Why are we talking about Stokowski? Oh, Fantasia.
Because the person saw Fantasia and wanted to know why it wasn't more of a success. It's just a timing thing, isn't it? I mean,
people caught up. Even today, it's still, when they made Fantasia 2000, that wasn't a roaring success either.
No, though it's so cool to look at.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I think my favorite thing about Fantasia, and this is true for me with animation in general, is I'm always blown away by how they bring something to life. How can a tree come to life and move in a way that feels authentic, that actually feels like it's a thing that could happen?
Yeah.
And I always feel this way. How do they bring such emotion to inanimate objects?
Like brooms.
And I will say that I think the whole Sorcerer's Apprentice aspect in the brooms is still terrifying to this day.
Oh, yeah.
I find that very scary. Somebody asked me the other day if I'd shown Daisy yet. And I said, no, first of all, she has enough problems with water. The kid, she flooded my parents' bathroom, loves to play with water, loves it way too much. But it's like, that's scary. I still find that scary. It's a scary scene.
Well, it's Mickey's nightmare.
Yeah, it's not meant to be a good time. I want to catch up. You guys have a whole heap of questions today.
Yes, I was sorry to read about the demise of Ted Kotcheff.
Yes.
Who lived 94 years, which is a good run, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very fond of, always been fond of the apprenticeship of Duddy Kravitz. One of Richard Dreyfuss's great performances. He really gets inside the skin, under the skin of that character, created by the Canadian writer Mordechai Richler. And it's a really good film. And it came out before Jaws and wasn't seen by nearly as many people.
Yeah.
But even then, it was taken up by, savvy critics as being a sleeper, and it remains a sleeper, but one that's still worth seeing.
There you go.
With Denham Elliott as a soused movie director. Wonderful
those
movie.
soused movie directors. Thank you to all, and happy Passover to you as well.
Right.
We hope you're enjoying your matzah. Make sure to get extra fiber to work that stuff through. It is good for no one. I know it's Passover because my mother goes to Gelson's to buy all of the macaroons. If you didn't tell me it was Passover, I would know, because she would have the chocolate marshmallows, which she loves, and the candy, it looks like oranges, the candied stuff. That's in our house. I think that's how I know.
Yeah.
Less so with the cleaning of bread, more so with that.
Just as my first sign of spring, growing up in New Jersey, was not the flowering of the crocuses or the blooming of the crocuses or the beginning of baseball season, but the arrival of the Good Humor Man.
Hey, that tracks for this family.
Yeah.
That tracks for this family.
Food,
I'll go with that.
Yeah. Food is
food related.
Yeah.
I feel like most movies are designed to insult my intelligence, and I'm not paying for that. I'm going to tell a story quickly. We told it before, but it to me is the epitome of that. My dad and I were at Sundance. I was 19 or 20, 19. And we went together, and was that your first?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was the first time that he'd ever been, first time we'd ever been. And it was an adventure, but we got to see this movie and called Brick, knowing nothing about it, knowing nothing about the director at all. It was so good. A lot of my actor friends were in it. A lot of the young folks that I had grown up with were in it. So that immediately was exciting, just to see friends working on something so good. But then we watch it and it ends. And I don't think we got to talk to Ryan that night.
No.
The director.
It was a daytime screening.
Yeah.
We went immediately to another venue for another screening.
No, it was still in that venue, because that was the whole thing, is that they asked me to come up. They were saying in the back, we saw it at is it the Egyptian or whatever it's called? We saw it there. Basically, we spoke to one friend who was talking about how they didn't know how to sell or package this movie. And I said, well, it's really smart. And if you've never seen Brick, it's a really good movie. And it's Rian Johnson directed it, who has now
wrote and directed,
done all sorts of other things that you have seen.
Knives Out.
Directed one of the Star Wars, all that stuff. So, and married to Karina Longworth, which I enjoy very much, because they're like my parents, like the nerds unite. Basically, I was asked to go over to some possible buyers and tell them from a 19-year-old's point of view why I thought this movie was so valuable. And basically, I said to them, it's smart. It's smart and it's clever. And I like that it's not talking down to me, that I am still a teenager, almost out, but at that point, still a teenager. And I'm watching this movie, and it doesn't feel like they're trying to spoon feed me. It doesn't feel like they're having to go, you get it? I loved that about it. I thought that was so worthwhile. And that is, I tease Ryan when we do see him, I'm the reason he's successful, because I helped sell that movie. But this is the thing, is that aren't we all so pleased when we watch something that is fulfilling? When we watch something that leaves us going, oh yeah, that was a good one. And it made me feel good to watch something like that. One sec. There's a whole bunch of people who've passed away, and you guys are asking about them. I want to catch up. Oh, they did ask about Val Kilmer. What can you say? He was sick for such a long time. And in a way, we're lucky that we had him as long as we did. I'm so pleased that he was in the remake, or the whatever they called it. Top Gun. To call it a remake, was it a sequel, whatever the hell they want to call it? And I'm so glad he was there, because I feel like that would have been a really terrible thing to not include him. But he was so ill. It's just sad. Alan is saying that he listened to your Val Kilmer podcast, which is my dad's Aussie podcast, a new show that he's been doing. And it's called the Movie Guide Podcast. You can find it by typing in the Movie Guide Podcast. The fellow that he's doing it with has website, all the socially things, but they did a shorter episode about Val Kilmer. 1 second. Who else? So, who else died? Someone else you guys asked, and I'm trying to find it. No, I don't know where it went. I think it was a British actress, someone said. And I'm going to try and find it real quick. I have been having an interesting experience for me, one that is not rare, but different in my life. Oh, here you go. Jean Marsh.
Mm-hmm.
Jean Marsh passed away. Any thoughts, it says?
Well, she was one of the stars of Upstairs, Downstairs.
Yes.
When that became a genuine phenomenon. A British TV show swept American audiences. And she was one reason.
Mm. You mentioned Passover, so that made me think, what is your favorite movie to watch over Easter? Well, so here's the thing. Because we're Jewish, we don't celebrate Easter. We, like, I know what it is. And obviously, as a kid, we go to Easter egg hunts and stuff like that, but we have no Easter traditions. Is there ever a bad time for Meet Me in St. Louis or Easter Parade or any of those? No. You don't have to tell us twice. We'll watch those any time of year.
When I was growing up, WCBS TV, New York, reliably every Saturday night before Easter showed Easter Parade on their late show, the late movie.
Nicky Cat died? Oh my God. Frank's just saying, Nicky Cat, he's so young. How did he die? I mean, he had a lot of problems, but that's really sad. 54. No other details. It's going to be something like, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say it's going to be something like drugs, but he wasn't a well person. That's really sad. Young people, man, that's too early. Eric says Donnie Darko every Easter for my family. There's an upper. Anyway, so I've had an experience recently, and it sort of blew my mind. Because again, this is going to happen, but you just never know when it's going to hit or where. You know how you rewatch a movie or a TV show or something, and you're in a different place in your life, and so you may relate more or less to something. I have been rewatching Handmaid's Tale. There's the new season either just started or has started or is going. It's right around now, and I just decided I wanted to rewatch the series. Well, the thing is, when I watched it the first time, I didn't have a child. And now I do. Woof.
Changes everything.
Oh my God.
Changes everything. As you folks probably know.
As I say, it's not like it's a surprise that I'm more sensitive to that topic. But oh my God, because so much of the show is kids being separated from parents, and especially the kids not knowing why they're being separated. This gives nothing away if you haven't seen it yet, but there's a scene where one of the handmaids the lead character reunites with her daughter, but only briefly. And the daughter basically says, "Why didn't you try to find me?" And she said, "I did." And she says, "Why didn't you try harder?" Yeah. And it's like, oh my God. So as I'm getting through, and I've made it almost up to the new season, it's so hard. It's so hard to watch. And I mentioned it to one of the moms at school because I was telling her about this. She said, "Oh my God, there's so much stuff I can't watch anymore." Because again, obviously a child being separated from their parent, that's going to be upsetting to anyone. But when you have a child, and then again, it's things like that. Why didn't you try harder to find me? And you just go, "Oh, I'm going to go crawl under a hole." Oh my God. Yeah. And I just, it's new for me. This is a new one. Again, it's like listening to a song when you've never had a broken heart, when you've never, dated someone and broken up with them. And then you have that experience and suddenly the song hits in a whole different way. As I say, different moments like that, it's just woof. So still sort of recovering from some of that.
Yeah,
but
I get that.
It's wild, man. It really is. It's amazing how much it changes. It just say, I wasn't expecting it. I didn't even think about it. And then punch in the face. Which show about kids? A Handmaid's Tale. I've been rewatching Handmaid's Tale. And that is just, as I say, rough. Mia Farrow is coming to by the way, hi, Jim. Mia Farrow is coming to the Florida Film Festival next weekend. And they are showing Rosemary's Baby. What are some of your favorite Farrow films?
Well, she's great, and she's great in that. She's perfect in that, and I like her a lot in The Purple Rose of Cairo. Woody Allen wrote the part for her, of course, but she's just right. She's just right as a movie struck waitress, and who gets swept up, in the fantasy versus reality quagmire of that movie.
Yeah.
It's a damn good movie overall. Woody Allen was once asked about the people he directed, and he said, the one who impressed me the most was Van Johnson, who's in Purple Rose of Cairo. He says, because when I was growing up, he was a big star. And suddenly here I am directing this big movie star in my little film.
Well, everybody starts somewhere. That's what's wild, isn't it? Everybody starts somewhere. Everybody has to do things early. We've heard this a lot recently because on a number of TV shows, you have some of the sort of what I'll call like the greats on a lot of these new TV shows that are happening. And people are talking about trying to work, but you're standing across from Martin Short. You're standing across from Nathan Lane. You're standing across from, it's like all these legends, people that I very much believe are legendary. And how do you just handle that they're there? Let alone if you're a director having to tell them something.
Yeah.
Bad enough if you're an actor, but I can't imagine if you have to walk over to somebody and go, Mr. Short, could we take that again, please? You missed this line and this beat. If you could no, you'd have a heart attack. I can't. Yeah, I can't imagine, but it's so cool. And I do love that more people are coming out. Well, so hang one second. He just mentioned, one second. Somebody has been rewatching the Shoah documentary. Woof, in time for Passover. Yeah, I can't even begin on that one. What's your take on the upcoming Superman film?
I have no take.
There's an upcoming Superman film?
I'll see it.
Yeah, maybe.
I'll see it with an optimistic point of view.
Scott loved my husband loved the last one. He did not think he would like Robert Pattinson, and he loved it.
Okay.
He thought that Batman was great. So, there are moments where perhaps you find the right person or it's got the right tone and it could work. When we talk about these sort of kind of like the Marvel movies too, we have no horse in this race. We don't care. So the good part of that is that we don't care. If it's bad, it doesn't bother us. I don't want to watch a bad movie, but I also don't care. If it's something that matters to you, then it's a lot harder. Oh, please do this film justice. Please do whatever it is. For me, there's enough Supermans to go around. Yeah. If you don't like this one, watch a different one. You've got more.
Yeah.
Which I realize is not what people want to hear, but it's sort of just the truth. Someone's asking about the Goofy movie documentary, not just a goof. I know it's coming out. Jason and Bill, the voice of Goofy, the voice of Max, are in it, and they've both been posting a lot about it. We know Bill Farmer a bit, and we know James a bit, and I love that movie so much. I love it so much.
I remember seeing it with you.
Yeah.
Going to see the Saturday morning screening.
Yeah.
And
I loved it then.
We both said, what a good movie.
Yep. I loved it then. I love it now. Tevin Campbell, who plays Powerline in the film, or is the voice of Powerline, he went to my school, and that was a very big deal. He was a senior when it came out, and it was a very big deal. I just love that movie. I love it so much. I still love it. I think the music is great. It's still great to listen to. I listen to it all the time. I love that they do screenings of it. They either have or are about to do a screening at the El Cap, and Don Hahn is going to moderate the conversation. And yeah, I just think it's such a good movie. And part of what makes it good is that they're not perfect. I think that's it's a Disney movie, but there's reality in it.
Well, yeah, they're trying to make Goofy, who in the abstract is just a funny character, a goof. They're trying to make him relevant for a contemporary, youthful audience.
Yeah.
and they found a way to do it.
Yeah.
By giving him a son and exposing him to real life adventures
Yeah.
and real life parental issues. That's a tricky tightrope to walk.
It's for what
and they did it.
And I think
And it was
that's
directed
why.
by Kevin Lima.
Yeah.
Who went on
so
to make
good.
Enchanted.
So good. But yeah, that's, to me, and I think this is really what, Eye to Eye is one of the best songs in a Goofy movie. Absolutely. It's so, as I say, I think that when something is done as thoughtfully as that movie was, you can tell that it took time. It was put together carefully, and the script was put together carefully. Because as I say, it feels real. As silly as that sounds, it's you have Goofy having to deal with a British term I love, stroppy teenage kid. And he just has to deal with it. And it's just wonderful. It's wonderful. I like that you got to interview Bill Farmer way back in 2002 for Walt Disney Treasures, The Complete Goofy. Bill is a gem. He's a gem. He loves being goofy. He's very happy and proud to be goofy.
And he also does a great Walter Brennan.
Yeah. He's had a lot of really good voices.
Yeah.
He's Pluto as well, which I enjoy.
Yeah. He used to be a stand-up comic.
Yeah.
And he did impressions. And so he does some older actors that I enjoy that.
But he understands.
And I'm allowed.
You can love whatever you want.
It's okay.
No, I appreciate with him that he cares so much about being goofy.
Yeah.
When you are a voice actor, and when you are a voice actor who portrays a character that is attached to a child's life, if you're Mickey, Minnie, Daisy met the voice of Minnie Mouse, the current voice of Minnie Mouse, at D23 last year. Had no idea, obviously, and she started speaking to her as Minnie, and you could sort of see Daisy's going like, "But you're not a big mouse." She was too young for it to register, but I'm getting to see Minnie Mouse talk to my daughter, and my heart is just swelling because that Minnie's her favorite. So yeah, it's just it's amazing, and yeah, I'm glad they've done the documentary. I'm glad that the movie is still out there the way that it is, because I think it is great for so many reasons, but I love that the values in it, it's the reality of your relationship with your parent when you're getting older and you think they're embarrassing or whatever it is. And then realizing that they just love you so much, and everything they do is because they love you and they just want the best for you. And what a great sort of moral of the story is coming to understand that what your parents do, they do because they love you. And while you might be annoyed at the time, later on, hopefully, you'll come to understand that it had a purpose,
And to answer your question, Arthur, no, I never did get to meet Pinto Colvig, the original voice of Goofy. I wish I had. I think he passed away by the time I got here to California. By the time I moved to California, that is.
Jason's rewatching The Grifter since you covered it so well on the Movie Guide podcast. What a great movie with a hell of a pedigree. It's a knockout, isn't it?
It really is. I didn't know if it would hold up. It does. Boy, it's unfiltered, full strength.
I told you I saw it when Annette Bening was still, again, in my school. If you've joined us before, I did not go to a normal human people school. And there were a lot of actors there, and a lot of parents were actors and directors and all the rest. So Annette Bening and Warren Beatty's kids went to my school, and you used to see Annette all the time, and she would just be there in an overalls and a baseball cap. And I remember seeing the movie and then seeing her at school and feeling so embarrassed that I'd seen her not just naked, but like naked. And I didn't know what to say. I was in shock. But yeah.
Now, so when I asked my students, do you go to the movies? Very few of them do. Very few of them do on a regular basis. And that's the issue. It's not whether you can get people to turn out. Minecraft showed, yes, you can get people to turn out for an opening weekend of a movie that has a definite
following.
appeal.
Yeah.
Right. Or something that just, triggers a bandwagon effect. like Barbenheimer. So what's missing is the habit, the ritual of going to the movies every
Yeah.
weekend.
I mean, you
You
don't
know,
you don't go. I mean,
No,
compared to what it used to be,
I
you barely
confess,
go.
I
Yeah.
confess, I've gotten late since pandemic,
Yeah.
since the lockdown.
Yeah.
My wife and I, it's an effort to get up and put on, look decent.
Let's be honest. Leonard doesn't want to wear pants anymore. Okay, guys. Leonard is over
It's an effort
pants.
to look decent, get in
Yep.
the car, and go someplace to see a movie. And since I'm not reviewing, or rather, to put it bluntly, no one is paying me to review movies right now. I post now and then on my website, and I talk about things here with you guys on Sunday. But there's no gun to my head.
Mm-hmm.
You have to see this movie. And when I was doing the movie guide, all those years that I did the annual movie guide, my consolation, if I should see a movie that turned out not to be good, was, well, at least I can write it up for the movie guide.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't waste my time completely. At least I can write it up for the movie guide. I don't have that as a fallback anymore. So now I really need an incentive to go. And for home viewing, there's every disincentive to go out.
Yeah.
Every possible disincentive. They've made it so easy to be lazy. And that's I'm fighting it. I promise you, I'm fighting that feeling. Don't want to get into that.
No, but so the TCM Film Festival is 2 weeks away, and very excited, or a week and a half, however you want to. It's always really fun to go there. Again, because I have Daisy, I don't really get to participate very much. Though again, this year I'm going to take her to Cinderella at the El Capitan. My dad's introducing it with Mario Cantone, and I'm going to take Daisy. It's her very first time watching a movie in a theater. I have no idea how long she'll last. It could be a minute. It could be 10 minutes. She could sit through the whole thing. We'll find out. But, I really, when I've spoken to friends who have kids here, I always say, take them to the El Capitan. If you want to give your child the best shot at sitting through a movie,
Yep.
Take your kids there, because man, what a show, what a gorgeous theater, what a show, and how fun to actually have a movie experience.
Right.
You're going for the whole experience of it. I'm sad that the store next door is no longer the Disney soda fountain. It's the Ghirardelli, but at least it's there and it has things you can buy. Yes, Arthur, the original Cinderella. That's what they're going to be showing, and I'm very excited about that. 1 second. Have you ever seen Move Over Darling? The James Garner, Thelma Ritter. Oh yeah, Doris Day. And did you see the North Avenue Irregulars?
I think when it was new, that was post Walt Disney, just immediately post Walt Disney movie, kind of like Freaky Friday, that era. And there's not a lot of great post Walt live action movies from that period. That was the what would Walt do period. When his son-in-law Ron Miller was running the studio, and an unenviable task he had to be working with the same people who'd been at the studio for years and decades in some cases, and trying to maintain the brand, family friendly, G-rated, and it was tough. It was very tough.
I can't imagine.
No, I can't either.
I'm lucky to live in a city that shows old movies all the time. Where do you live, Kent? I might see a new movie in the theater once a month, but I see an older movie at least once a week. That's great. Fantastic. Yes,
That's
where do you live? That's wonderful. They're screening Night Moves at my local theater right now. That's great. 1 second. 1 second. It's a print. Is it a print of Cinderella? I don't know. I don't know if they have a printer, if it's digital.
Oh, I don't know. I would bet it's going to be digital.
Yeah, at this point.
Because they've done a cleanup.
Yeah.
A digital restoration.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
we'll see. But they have both. One of our friends is one of the people that helps build all the projectors, put all the projectors together to make sure they have everything they need for the TCM Film Festival.
And they're going to show VistaVision.
Yeah.
They're going to show 2 movies Saturday night in VistaVision.
Are they doing any Cinerama this year?
No.
No.
Well, VistaVision.
Yeah. Oh no, I know. I'm just asking.
It's the headline.
I'm just asking.
It's the Paramount entered the sweepstakes, the running of the new format derby in the 50s. Cinerama, CinemaScope, stereophonic sound, Panavision, Archaeoscope, all of that stuff. And the one that was truly unique, not supposed to modify the word unique, the one that was unique was VistaVision, because it sent a 70 millimeter frame of film horizontally through the camera. And it was a big frame of film, like an IMAX. It was really the forerunner of IMAX. And
I just, out of curiosity, how many of you have seen an IMAX film? And I mean literally the film for IMAX. How many of you have actually seen that in person? Because we got to, well, you've seen it before. I had never seen it. And then a few years ago, we were visiting a friend at the theater that he worked at. And they took us upstairs and we got to see some of, I guess it was Dunkirk. Would have been Dunkirk. I knew it had to be, but I mean, like, I'd never seen anything like that in my life. It's wild.
If you remind me next time, we'll do some show and tell with some frames.
Do you have?
Yeah. There's the...
Yeah, Jesse. I just have it sitting around, obviously.
I'm a low-tech. I'm the lowest of low-tech people, but I understand this principle. The larger the frame that you shoot with, it's true for still photos too. The larger the frame, the image, the more information it captures. And even then, if you print it down to a 35 millimeter print, the original capture, I'm trying to use the right lingo, is going to be sharper and clearer and brighter. It's going to have more information, to use that term. It's going to have more information in it. And that's why IMAX is so spectacular. And that's why VistaVision was so spectacular. Hitchcock made 2 movies in VistaVision. And it was a bulky camera, a bulky setup. They've been using it ever since for visual effects. So they've never stopped using VistaVision, just that nobody used it for dramatic purposes until Brady Corbet came along and made the Brutalists in VistaVision. Ta-da!
Ta-da! Don, we were just talking about you because you're doing that screening of a Goofy movie, and I wish I could go, and it sounds wonderful, and I'm jealous. No, I say when we saw the print up close, they say, because even in pictures, it's one thing, it looks massive, but to actually be holding it, have it in front of me, I had on the white gloves and I was holding it. It was like, just the idea that somebody came up with it, and the idea that the kind of camera you would need, because that too is seeing it in person, is understanding the size camera you would need to capture things on it. It's huge. And it's just, the whole thing is just kind of mind blowing how it all works. I do. When they were initially switching over from prints to digital, a lot of the screenings we would go to would have them playing side by side. So in the event that the digital stopped working, they could switch over seamlessly to the print.
Because I attended some early digital screenings, one of which had to be canceled because the digital prints, the DCPs as they call them, come with a timer. To shield off piracy or unauthorized showings. They have it's going to go on at 2,200 hours and going to be finished at 2,400 hours. So if you try to show it before or after that, you're out of luck. And we had some breakdowns and some
countless where the sound wasn't working, something didn't. So they would literally run the print next to the digital. And I remember seeing it at the Lemley. There's a few places where we'd go, and it just blew my mind that that's how little they could trust the digital, that they had to keep running it right next to it. One
night at Warner Brothers, at one of their screening rooms, I went to see Crazy Stupid Love. I don't know why I remember this, but I do. And it started in the middle of the picture.
Perfect.
And then after like 10 seconds, it went dark.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
projections turned
And they
on, the
started it
house
again.
lights, apologized. And at the end of the screening, I said to him, "That was cool. I knew you were showing a 35 millimeter print." He said, "Well, I'm so embarrassed. This is a veteran
Yeah.
full-time union projectionist." And I said, "No, no, no. It was,
It meant it was real.
it meant it was real."
It meant it was real, man.
Anyway, several of you have commented on the Amateur, which I showed in my class on Thursday night with Rami Malek and Lawrence Fishburne. And if you don't blink, you might see Rachel Brosnahan. She's barely in it, and she's good, but it could be anybody. And she's talented, so I wish they'd given her more to do. But two of the producers came to my class. They've been developing this movie for 11 years. 11 years. Mind you, they've been doing other things in between. They're doing the Venom series, which has made a lot of money.
Yeah.
And they're very well entrenched at what used to be called 20th Century Fox, now called 20th Century Studios, and is a part of Disney. You need a scorecard. Anyhow, they after they optioned the novel, they'd done a novel by Robert Littell, and so they wanted to follow up and do another adaptation. It was only after they started working on it that they discovered it had been shot before. It was a 1980 or 81 film starring, I just lost it.
Help me help you.
John Savage,
There you go.
starring John Savage and Christopher Plummer.
There was a little crinky sound that just happened. You had the Rolodex was going really quick.
That's right. And so it's already been a movie, and now it's a new movie, and I wish it were better. It's not bad, not a bad movie, but by any means, but it's just sort of there. It's a cloak and dagger film. Not great. And the week before, I showed Freaky Tales by Ryan Fleck and Anna Boden, two indie filmmakers who, like a lot of indie filmmakers of the 80s and 90s, have been working in television, working what I call high-end television.
Yeah.
I noticed that we watched Paradise. No, not Paradise. It was Your Friends and Neighbors. No, Paradise is John Ficarra and Glenn Requa. Glenn Ficarra and John Requa. They're Requa and Ficarra. I got their first names mixed up. I mean, I Love You, Philip Morris. They made a lot of good movies. And this is where there's work now.
Kev, we love Half Nelson. It's so good.
Yeah, Half Nelson's a great movie.
Yeah.
And Sugar is a very good movie too.
Yeah.
Well, Freaky Tales is a kind of out of nowhere, out of left field movie. It's 5 interconnected stories set in Oakland, California in 1987. And you can't help but think of Pulp Fiction when you watch this, because they're rough. There's violent stories. There's kind of a smart-assy tone, but there's also kind of an inside tone. Like if you were there, if you're a part of that scene, you would really respond to this movie. It uses real life figures who became sort of local celebrities.
Yeah.
And it's it's fun. It's an uneven movie, but it's fun. And they are talented people.
Uneven but fun.
Yep.
There you go.
Craig Gillespie, the Aussie who made Lars and the Real Girl and then made a lot of other films since here in the States, is the executive producer and co-creator, I think, of Your Friends and Neighbors, the new John Hamm series, which we just started watching, and which is intriguing. But I'm getting tired of being hooked
and then they're not very good.
and then they sputter.
Yeah.
They sputter to a finish.
That's what I mean. They so many TV shows and movies right now. It's like you feel like, yeah, all right,
Yep.
all right, we got this. And
Paradise
I told
is
you.
like not you. Yeah.
I told you, but that's what was so disappointing.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, okay. Oh, but
great start. Great
Great start.
Episode 1, episode 2.
Great. And then
then
womp,
then the penultimate episode, the next to last episode, was also very strong, and they directed that themselves.
Yeah.
And then the wrap up.
Womp womp. Yeah, the pit. Oh, I really like the pit. I like the pit a lot. Somebody the other day was saying that, it's just a reboot of ER. It's not. Look, to some degree, all medical shows are going to be the same because they have to be, because it is what it is. Like, there's only so much you can do. And the cases have to be ridiculous. It's like they can't just be like, I got a splinter in my foot. No, it has to be some kind of crazy, because otherwise it apparently would just be boring. Though I do think it would be pretty amusing to just have an actual, like, cover it for real, where it's just people coming in going, and that's it. But no, Noah Wiley's so good. He's so good. And it's really fun. If you are someone that grew up watching ER, and I did, I loved that show. I saw every single episode 12 times. It feels so good to see him being the grown-up doctor now. Because I think if you watch the show, we all fell in love with him. He was the young guy, the goofy guy. He was so sweet. He was trying his best. And now he's the doctor in charge.
Right.
He's the head of things,
right.
Who has a lot of issues. But it's like seeing him be the grown-up now. And then watching him do all of these interviews that he's been doing, I don't think he expected the response that it's gotten. And people are obsessed, and he's so happy, but also a little bit shy, which is really cute. He keeps going on shows and sort of just like, yeah, I'm so glad you like it. So I've read multiple people saying that he should get an honorary doctorate by now, that he's done it so long that he should just be allowed to do surgeries. I really like it. It's got a really, really good cast. I hate the term Nepo baby because I think it's stupid, but I did think it was interesting that there's a handful of second and third generation actors on the show. Taylor Dearden, who's Bryan Cranston's daughter, John Briones' daughter, who's also
Taylor, former student of mine.
Yes, I know. Yeah. Taylor was a student of my dad's at USC. There's a handful of people. The Brad Dourif's daughter's on it. And he just cameoed and played her father on the show. See, there's all sorts of little things. And I think it's a good show. The concept of it is that it is each episode is an hour, and that's an hour in the day. So it's supposed to be real time, which when you realize what's happening is like, what do you mean this is hour 2? It's really, really good. And I like it. The Pit is on Max, I think, right? Matt, there are too many friggin' streaming channels, and I don't remember what's on what, especially because you can watch Hulu through Disney Plus. Yeah, and so they'll advertise them as both. I find it all really, really confusing, and I don't think it's smart, and I don't understand why they think this is a good idea to have things be so many places.
Those people wouldn't have those jobs.
Yeah.
If they weren't really smart. Just remember that.
Yeah.
Duh. Well, so I started watching The Studio, which is Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg's latest baby. They created it with several other people, colleagues, and they write and direct most of the episodes so far. And the first episode left me with a funny taste in my mouth. It seemed too true. Didn't seem satiric. It was like, about a guy who steps on someone else's crushed body to get to the job of studio chief, reminiscent of Amy Pascal at Sony. That character played by Catherine O'Hara, which is never a bad thing.
No.
And Ike Barinholtz is Seth Rogen's
what a sweetheart
aide de camp and pal. But episode 2 and episode 3, I laughed out loud. And side splitting, so funny. And they have lots of guest stars, lots of prominent people. Apparently, Martin Scorsese is in episode 1, and apparently after he said yes, no one said no.
Yeah, well, yeah, that pretty well covers it, right? Well, I mean, Martin Scorsese said he'd do it. Well, then crap. Yeah. No, I haven't had what's that one on?
Apple Plus.
Apple Plus. There are too many streaming no, I'm sorry. I just have it is so the funny part to me, right, is that people are now bundling. It's a whole thing. You bundle your different streaming services. Oh, you mean like TV? You're bundling them? Oh, you mean like television? How we used to have it all in one place? That? Oh, I'm bundling. I've cut the cord and I'm bundling. You've cut nothing. And this is what blows my damn mind is that it's like, no, it's harder than ever to remember where everything lives, when it's coming on. Even if you have reminders, it's just the idea that it used to be that you'd go, okay, here's where HBO lives. Channel in the 500s for us. Showtime was 5:45 and up from there. So I would check these channels. Also, thanks to, once we were all sort of being able to record, that was great. So the show would just be there. You'd come home from work or you'd, relax after whatever the hell it is. And you turn on your TV, you go, oh, I have a new episode of such and such and a new episode of such and such. Now you have to actually remember, which I realize is first world problems. It's not like it's the end of the world, but it's just the idea that it's like, why would you make it so we can't find these things? I don't think it's very smart. My dad has brought some interesting show and tells.
Yes.
The first one being one of my favorites because it definitely looks here. I'm going to show you this. Okay. Kind of hard because it's on glass, but tell me, I know who it is, but if you had to guess, because my first thought, and a friend of mine said this to me, is if Hitler was Chinese.
Oh, please.
Literally the first thing one of my friends said when they saw it. Leonard Maltin. Does that look like Oliver Hardy to you?
It's a caricature of Oliver Hardy.
Right. And so what does he look like?
Oliver Hardy.
Daddy. Come on now. Come on now. And yeah, it's a mask. It's framed and it's a mask. So.
It's an Al Hirschfeld caricature of Oliver Hardy.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never had an opportunity to buy the matching one from Stan Laurel. But I was in an auction, a telephone bidder auction, when I got this for very little money. And the other one that I was bidding on was Charlie Chase, who I love. And it was the collector's bookstore auction that they used to have every month. And they kept the bidding open until the phone stopped ringing for 10 minutes.
Genius.
I went to bed believing I had the Charlie Chase, and somebody stayed up later than I did and outbid me.
We will find
all these
you.
years.
We will find you one day.
After all these
one
years.
day you're going to walk into someone's house and go,
yeah.
Mm-mm.
Okay. This is a wonderful piece too, which obviously came off the wall for show and tell here. And I'll read it to you in just a minute.
Here.
It's a Western Union
Telegram. Hollywood, California, 209p. Thoughts? January 12th, 1925. Carter DeHaven, Orpheum Theater, Los Angeles, California. Hope you knock them dead tonight. If you do, have made arrangements with the National Casket Company. Buster Keaton. Oh, PM. That's what it is. It's a PM. Because underneath it says Buster Keaton, 2:15 p.m.
It's a telegram that Buster Keaton sent to the vaudeville star Carter DeHaven.
It's super hard to read.
Father of Gloria DeHaven.
But isn't that cool?
And patriarch of a show business family that's still going strong.
Yeah.
There's a Carter DeHaven the second
Mm-hmm.
and the third. Anyway, it was sent by Buster Keaton. I didn't hesitate to buy that.
Mm-mm.
And this
I love this.
is irreplaceable.
Mm-hmm.
When I was 13, I wrote to Stan Laurel at St. John's Hospital
Mm-hmm.
in Santa Monica, California, because I read that he had a heart attack. So I wrote him a combination get well and fan letter. And he had these photo postcards printed up by the 100 and sat at his desk and dutifully answered every one of them.
Says, thanks, Leonard. Good luck always. Stan Laurel, 64. 14-year-old Leonard.
13-year-old.
Depending on the month, yes.
Yeah.
Did you ever meet Guy Williams?
No.
I wish he met
wish.
Guy Williams. God, what a man. That's a good looking man. That is a handsome man, charismatic, all the things. You know, there's something about for this book that we've been working on. We've been talking a bit about Howard Keel.
Yeah.
And how Howard Keel was like that voice, his singing voice, the acting, but just him as well, because he was tall and strapping. You know, it's like he was a leading man. That's a leading man. And you look at someone like Guy Williams, and it's a similar, not as big, but not physically as big, but just the idea of that handsome, charismatic. There's some wonderful photos of him at Disneyland with his kids that you can find online. You can Google them. And it's just seeing him standing there and his kids are playing. And it's like, I don't think it gets better than you, sir. I just don't. I love him.
The only person working in show business today that I would compare to Howard Keel would be Hugh Jackman.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely that.
Good looking man.
Yeah.
Able to.
Can do anything.
He can act. He can sing.
He can dance, the whole nine.
Yeah, all of it.
Yeah. A lot.
The whole package.
Charisma really is something that it's the thing that you cannot fake. It's the thing that you just can't fake. And it's very much a you either got it or you don't. And which is the gypsy phrase that we love from the musical. Some people got it and make it pay. Some people can't even give it away. You either got it or you don't got it. And these people, and I think especially when you think how long Howard Keel has been gone and someone like Guy Williams, and you look at them and they just like, and this is obviously the magic of movies and television, is they exist as they were perfectly forever, you know, in that state. But man, it really is something. And then you do think about anybody else trying to fill those shoes.
Right. And then of course, Howard Keel sort of outlasted his usefulness because they stopped making musicals. You know.
Oh, wow. Alan says, I got to see Howard Keel on stage twice in Man of La Mancha and The Unsinkable Molly Brown. That's amazing. You're very, very lucky. That's amazing. We got to see, so he does act in film and TV, but really what he's known for is musical theater. And his name is Brian Stokes Mitchell. And we got to see him in Man of La Mancha. He is, if you're a musical theater nerd, which I am, he's pretty much like the biggest, especially when I was young, like he's a big deal. And his voice, that voice, it's ridiculous. Powerful, smooth. He was in Ragtime. There were a lot of shows.
He's in the revival of Kiss Me Kate.
Yeah, he can do anything. He also, my favorite fun fact, he was also on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air as one of Hillary's boyfriends. Mitchell. What's that?
He just used Brian Mitchell.
Yeah.
Yeah. And uses the middle name.
But he just, what a talent. And is still working. But yeah, there was a moment there where there was a moment some years ago where things going on Broadway were making enough noise that you knew about it here. There was a time when that was happening with some frequency. And you knew when someone was big over there. And when somebody would appear in TV or film, you go, oh, that's a Broadway person. You'd actually know that about them. I think part of the trickiness now is because there's so many famous people. And by famous, I mean, you can be famous on TikTok. You can be famous on Facebook. You can be famous on Instagram. And there was a time where that just wasn't the case. And so your lineup of famous people was a lot smaller.
I forgot that Howard Keel was on Dallas for a while. Yes. Good.
Yeah.
Good point.
Kevin says, thank goodness we have the complete Zorro on a Walt Disney Treasure set.
Yes, that was
absolutely.
my last hurrah. The last thing that we got to do. Thanks to Dick Cook.
Dick Cook. God bless Dick Cook.
Yes.
I want to talk about intelligent, though. Ben is saying that he was on Frasier, too, as a neighbor who feuded with Frasier, which is hilarious. Frasier, to me, is a perfect example of when shows were smart. We used to watch it, all of us together. We'd watch Frasier. There were a handful of shows that we'd watch. And, man, I miss the shows that made us laugh because they were so well written and funny. Yeah. You and Mommy have started watching...
Mid-Century Modern.
Yeah, Mid-Century Modern.
With the aforementioned Nathan Lane.
Yeah.
One of the funniest men on the earth.
Yeah.
And Matt Bomer and
I don't know the other guy's name.
I'm not familiar with him.
No,
really.
I don't know him. I don't know at all. Yeah. I don't know him.
And the late Linda Lavin.
Yeah.
Who is just perfect as Nathan's mother, and who passed away, sadly. And they decided to write that into the script, and they did it very well. It's serious when it needs to be serious, and then goes back to being funny. And it again, theater training, theater experience, no substitute. There is no substitute. And when they're zinging these one-liners, rat-tat-tat,
Yeah.
And everyone lands. Well,
I couldn't. Matt Bomer. Matt Bomer. My dad met him at an event last year, and I wasn't there. And he sent me a photo of the two of them together. I've seen good-looking people in my life, but he's offensive. Like that picture, it's a blurry photo as well, and you just he's like glowing. He's tall. He's, again, charismatic, and you just go, oh, okay. Because again, there's this thing, right, of what makes someone a star, what gives someone their it factor, what makes you look at somebody and go, them. Like the guy that you had in your class, the black actor that you had.
Yes.
Do you remember his name? I don't. And he was just in something. He played Mufasa. You guys, stuff. The guy that just played Mufasa.
He's in a Netflix movie.
Aaron Pierre.
Yeah.
There you go. Aaron Pierre.
He's got it.
Yeah. Aaron Pierre came to my dad's class. And the first thing my dad said when he came home was, he goes, oh, this guy, you're going to see him. He's really something. And I love that he came to class and you actually got to see him in person.
Yeah.
And speak to him. But that was, it doesn't happen that often that you come home with that feeling.
Yeah.
But you did.
Yeah. There's no question in my mind. And the film, what's the film that he was in?
A movie about stuff and things.
Yeah.
1 second.
It was an action movie.
Yep.
And it was called...
Not the Underground Railroad. Rebel Ridge.
Rebel Ridge.
There you go.
And a decent, watchable, not stupid action film. But he just exudes star quality.
Yeah, he did. So there's this trend. On Jennifer Hudson's talk show, she has something it's called like the Spirit Hallway. And it's basically they sing a song to the guest who's going to be going on stage. It was cute at the beginning because it was a surprise. Now people know it's coming, and so it's a little bit more forced. But when he walks down that hallway, I don't think anyone could stop themselves from falling in love with him. It's just one of those things. It's a bit how I feel. Charlize Theron's kids go to my school where I have not been for a long time. Her kids are little. And every time I hear from one of my good friends who his mom is one of their teachers, every time Charlize Theron comes into class, everybody sort of goes, God, you're pretty. Like, because she's really kind and she's a real mom. She cares very deeply and she's just stunningly beautiful. And so whenever you see those people in person and you just kind of go, oh, wow, okay, this whatever the thing is, you have it. You have that thing. So yeah, amazing, isn't it?
Yes.
And it doesn't matter how old someone gets, they still.
No, if you got it, you've got it.
Yeah. Every time we've seen Julie Newmar in my life, you want to watch an audience stop dead in their tracks. Send Julie Newmar out there because
Stupefying Jones.
There's a reason. I don't know who else could have played that. Who else could have had that reaction? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hell, there's a movie, To Wong Fu. Thanks for everything, Julie Newmar. Fantastic film. But like the whole point, it's Julie Newmar. And I feel very lucky that because of you, I got to meet a lot of those older actors who just effortlessly had it. Actually, with TCM coming up, you should share some of your stories. But I think probably my favorite is, you can do it. She stopped to slow you down. Carrie's mother. Singing in the Rain.
Oh, Debbie Reynolds.
There it goes.
Debbie.
It's all in there somewhere.
Debbie
Reynolds slowed you down.
I interviewed Debbie after a screening of Unsinkable Molly Brown, The Unsinkable Molly Brown.
And you've met her many times over the years.
At the Egyptian Theater. Well, we were on a raised platform in the front of the theater. This is before they
remodeled.
Remodeled the theater, actually restored the theater. So they were concerned about getting her safely out of the theater.
They didn't want her to get mobbed.
And there was no backstage to go to. So they had like 4 or so big burly security guys to create a wedge to surround her and protect her. And I was in the wedge with her, and we were going to go up this aisle and then make a right turn with the break in the seating to a side aisle and to safety. Well, Debbie slowed it down. She wanted her fans to get a look at her, to be able to make eye contact, to wave, to acknowledge a wave, to acknowledge a kind word somebody may have said.
Mm-hmm.
And we went at her pace. And it was a very good lesson.
She knew exactly what she was doing. She knew exactly what those people wanted, and she wanted to give it to them. And if that's the only person it's the only time they're ever going to see her in person, she wants them to walk away going, oh my God, oh, she smiled at me, or she touched my hand, or whatever it is. She got it. As many of those folks got it. Pierre's asking if you ever met the magnifique Olivia de Havilland.
Yes, I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I've written about it.
You're very lucky because you happen to come at a time when they were still alive, which sounds terrible. I apologize for that. But so many of them were still around,
Timing, timing.
And I was born 86. So a lot of them were still around into my sort of early years, enough so that I remember a lot of them. And I remember the experiences. Do you remember why we were at the pool with Esther Williams? What was that for? Because I remember it happening, but I don't remember why.
That was the San Diego Cinema Society. That was Andy Friedenberg's event.
Because I remember that we were up by a pool with her. I didn't know. I'd say it's in my mind. I don't know why, but we were, and there she was. It's a trip. It's a trip to sort of think about seeing those people in person and up close. You also got to see legendary jazz performers. That's the other great jealousy I have with my parents is Duke they got Ellington, to see the greats.
Count Basie.
Did Don Rickles ever slobber or sweat on you? No, he was fantastic. He was fantastic.
Nice man. Lovely man.
So friggin' funny. God, was he funny.
Remember that night at the Hollywood Film Awards?
Yeah.
When he started just going off on a tear.
Yep.
He was there to present an award to some of the Pixar guys.
Yeah.
And he just started riffing. And it was, you can't reproduce it. You can't describe it. You can only experience it. And we were lucky enough to experience it. Funny man.
These people are naturally, again, some of these folks, it's like it's effortless. Something that I recommend, if you haven't seen a lot of these folks in earlier days when they were on like Johnny Carson or shows like that, watch early Joan Rivers. Ridiculous. P.S. If you've never seen her documentary, that's a wonderful documentary.
Yeah.
That is a wonderful document. I learned so much about her. I already respected her. Obviously, she had a big mouth and she said things, but so funny. If there's a line, I get it wrong if I said it, but basically they're not reaching up your skirt looking for a library card. But if you watch Rodney Dangerfield, watch any of that, again, YouTube, bless it, exists for these purposes. Watch early Rodney Danger. It's so funny. They just were. Whatever the hell, what they just were. They were right there on the cuff. Yeah, it blows my mind. It absolutely blows my mind. I can't.
Irreplaceable.
Yeah, there was only the one. And funny, of course, that my generation knows who he is in part just because of The Simpsons. Do you remember? Because they'd have him do his sort of bit on The Simpsons. Yeah. Interesting to see how people are remembered, right? So we will be with you next week, not the following week, because the following week is TCM. But we'll be here next weekend, next Sunday. So all is well there. Pierre's asking if you met Orson Welles. He didn't meet him. He stood near him.
We were boarding.
And experienced him.
Boarding a plane at Kennedy at the same exact moment. He had been wheeled down the jetway in a wheelchair. He was enormous, but in great spirits. And the attendant said to him, "Do you want me to get the wheelchair on the plane?" He said, "No, I can get up from here. I'm fine." And he got up and questioned whether I was going to walk in first or he was going to walk in first. And I said, "Go ahead." And I said, "No, after you, Mr. Wells." That was my meeting with Orson Welles.
Which is closer than a lot of us. And thusly, I will take it. I think that's incredibly cool. Oh, friends, it's so nice to be. Oh, is it Easter next Sunday? Well, it doesn't really matter to us. It just depends on you guys, actually. Tell us. I'll do like a poll. We don't do anything on Easter Sunday. Again, Jews. But if it's not a good day for you, you can let us know. Yes, I know. Kevin, I'm seeing Kevin keeps posting that Evanier has a new book coming out, The Essential Peanuts, the greatest comic strip of all time. Yes. We will talk about that more closer to it. And maybe we'll sneak Evanier back in or something. Everybody take good care of yourselves, and we'll see you next week.